Hey everyone, it is Brittany with Scribbles by Brittany, and I am bringing you kind of not really a speed paint per se, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of debating about whether I want to actually speed up this uh artwork. And anyway, the other one that I had, unfortunately, the edit or the video footage did not um for some reason it didn't save or it became a corrupted file. I'd recorded it years ago, back in like 2020, and was going through all of my footage, and for some reason it did not. It either it didn't save or I had only gotten clips of it because the way my camera was a mess. It was. And I'm just trying to supplement, I guess, with new footage. Uh, and I hope you guys enjoy this. Uh, right now I'm just coloring it. I had transferred it onto cardstock. But yeah. And I kind of want to do another Am I the Asshole? Uh, I find them very, very funny. And I also like to get people's input on them, on what, like, in the comment section, what you would do, stuff like that. Um, and there's some that I've recently have been reading that are just like, oh my god, like, that's crazy. And I figured that maybe I could do something like this once a month, maybe. I'm kind of debating about it. Oh, hold on, my dog is starting to bark. There's nothing. I don't know if there's anything worse than trying to argue with a pit bull, especially when you have neighbors outside that are currently active because it's like mid-afternoon, almost evening, that I'm recording the audio for this. But anyways, this artwork was actually inspired by my dog. Um, I think he absolutely looks super duper goofy when it comes to having a tennis ball in his mouth. And I wanted the colors to look right, to where they weren't muddied up. They were, you'll see here soon that the color of him kind of, I don't know, it looks super dark, and I did not intend for it to be that dark, but sometimes that's just what happens. But as I digress, I will be reading some Am I the Butthole stories. Let me see if I can find my other set. I have like two things on my notes app on my phone that literally are Am I the Butthole? Uh, uh, yep, here they are. Okay, okay. So I have like two notes app. So I just if I find a good story from the feeds, not necessarily on Reddit, mostly on Facebook, I'll go in and I'll just copy and paste it. I never I never have names unless they disguise the names. Like instead of Jeremy, his name is Jack, but I don't know that. So it's a it's one of those throwaway account type things where nobody wants to know the actual names. We can do ages and then genders. But anyway, here we go with one of the stories. It's going to be, I think it's going to be kind of short. Yeah, it's going to be kind of short. So it says, Am I the asshole for not signing my manager's birthday card? For context, I have been at my current job for a while, and in the beginning, I really enjoyed it. About a few months in, my manager accused me of something I didn't do in a highly unprofessional manner, and it has been pretty hostile ever since. Luckily, I don't work closely with my manager and have supervisors that I can speak directly to. Overall, the job is still good, but when my manager does reach out, I can sense hostility, so I try to limit contact at all costs. My manager's birthday is coming up, and there has been a card passed around to all the employees to sign. My coworker found it strange I declined to sign it, although I don't feel like it's their business to know why. I know for a fact my manager don't care for me, so slapping a fake birthday wish and a signature is not going to change their life in any way. Am I the asshole for not signing it? I don't think it will be missed. In all honesty, no, I don't think you're the asshole. Why are you going to waste your energy on someone isn't that isn't trying to de-escalate the hostile situation? And this is speaking from experience. I had my current supervisor, she got extremely hostile with me, and when she would get and I was a team lead at the time, when she would get hostile with me and I would approach to her about certain things, I would be blatantly ignored for 2 days. Like I would go out of my way to address her. Like I was making that effort to I don't know how to to actually engage in conversation with her, and she would immediately just walk away. And she wouldn't even talk to me. She would literally I would be like, "Hey, can we do this?" And then she'd just walk away. And at that point, you cannot treat your team members like that. That's not appropriate. You need to be able to communicate. But this is from my experience, and honestly, if there was a card being passed around for her birthday, I would tell her to go kick rocks in it. But that's my current supervisor, so like everybody kind of knows how I feel about her. Um, but no, you don't you cannot create a hostile working environment and expect people not to respond. It's not okay. So no, I don't think you're the asshole. Um, Especially if they don't take the time to even just an apology. Like, if you give an apology and then everything can be squashed then, cool. Super awesome. But no, at that point, not cool. Like, you cannot, and you absolutely cannot do something in an unprofessional way that is going to cause people to obviously deliberately hate you. Like, it must have been bad enough to where this team member doesn't even talk to the manager, doesn't associate, tries to avoid contact. That that says a lot about the person. Uh, so it says a lot about the manager, not the team member that is avoiding the contact. But in overall, I don't think you were an asshole. Part of me would want to know what was actually said, like, the like what was said in the interaction. But without that, I really don't, I don't think the person is the asshole at all. So normally when I'm doing artwork, I tend to work um dark to light to give a gradient effect, especially when it comes to like working with or like coloring flowers, um, skulls. I will do um trying to think of other artwork that I've done. Um that usually what I'll do is I'll start with the darker shade first, unfortunately, with the reference being as dark as he is, my dog, um, he's essentially just big and black, with like brown undertone. So that's where the brown comes from. I wanted to stay true to that. I didn't want it overly dark because in the sunlight, he does have a brownish color underneath. Uh, but yeah, so this with this particular artwork, I am actually kind of working backwards, and I am shading last because he is so dark, and it just it to me in my brain that's what makes sense to do, and I hope some people understand it. Yeah. All right. So for the next story, I I'm kind of hmm, I don't know how I feel about this one, but we're just gonna go with it. And it says, "Am I the asshole for not offering to hire a friend's son? I've been friends with Joe for 30 years." And Joe is in quotations, so obviously not his real name. "We met up at a barbecue last weekend, and he said he saw on my LinkedIn that we were hiring. He asked if I could set up an interview with his son. I'm in HR, which, for any reference, that's human resources. I said I wouldn't feel right doing that. Now he's bashing me on Facebook saying friends help each other out and stuff. I feel bad, but his son is not reliable. He got fired from his last job because he called out for a week when his favorite TV character died on the show." Um, okay. I've got thoughts on that. Just that alone. He he got fired from the job before that because he was late several times because he stayed up late watching TV. Joe says he's just a kid and will grow out of it. He's 28 and still lives at home, doesn't drive, he's afraid, and hasn't held a job longer than 6 months. Some of our mutual friends agree with me, but a lot think I should just do it. Edit. Okay, this is the edit that was on here. It was Eddie from Stranger Things. He dropped out of college when Carl from The Walking Dead died. Joe, in quotations, is an enabler, but I feel bad because his wife is a hot mess. But I also think Joe has a savior complex. I have a lot of thoughts on this one. Like, a lot of thoughts. Okay, so I I could already see that, I mean, his son is not reliable, being that he's 28 and still lives at home. Um, but for me, I was kicked out at 18. Um, I think I had moved back in with my dad for 6 months while I was trying to look for a place to live. It may have even been shorter than that. Not fully sure, but it was around maybe 6 months. Um, but to I'm sorry, I can't get over the fact that he was late several times because he stayed up watching TV. You're If you're 28 and you cannot get yourself out of bed, you might as well look for a second shift or a third shift job. Like, it's really not that hard. Like, if you can't get up early, then try and find a shift that works for you. Um, and then on top of that, the he's 28 years old and lives at home. Like, come on. And then he had to take a week off of work because his favorite TV character died on the show. Part of me thinks that that could be a little bit of an exaggeration on the poster's part, but at the same time, like, it I've known people that have done stupid stuff like that. Like, I know, it's wild. And then the fact that he dropped out of college when Carl from The Walking Dead died too. Like, come on, dude. Like, they are fictional characters. I just, maybe I'm just not into the hype that is needed, or the, you know what I mean? Like, but again, like, I remember going into work when The Walking Dead was popular. I remember, or even Orange is the New Black, and people were always talking about it. Like, people were talking about it all the time. But it's no reason to miss work. Like, I would understand if it was like an actual relative that died, but no, like, oh my god, this post frustrates me from a person that had to grow up quick, and then on top of that, I also I had to learn the real world real quick in that sense. Like, the Joe person is seriously coddling him. And honestly, like, and when it comes to human resources and hiring people, that takes a lot. It takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of energy, not just for, in the sense that, like, training and everything. It just takes a lot. So, as a person from HR, I think he's looking out for the betterment of the company to not hire Joe's son. But at the same time, I'm like, what if you gave him a chance and he finds that one person that actually makes coming into work worth it, you know? It's very, it's a very unsure of situation. Um, like, obviously he doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in the person. There are ways to go about, um, addressing situations when it comes to, like, tardiness, attendance, stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I can understand where the person from HR is definitely struggling with this one. Especially because Joe is kind of putting his 30-year friendship on the line, and by making these statements on Facebook and stuff. And it sounds like Joe is an enabler, but in the same breath, he's kind of instigating a lot of the hate towards the HR, the human resource, person. And then the other thing I can't get over is the the guy doesn't drive, and I understand the fear of driving and stuff, but what are you gonna do when you don't have family or friends? Because that was a very real situation in my book. Um, I I didn't have I did oh wait, no, I think I had my permit. I just didn't have a car to be able to drive. And unfortunately, there were days where the person that would normally give me a ride could not do it. So I was stuck having to call into work. And that, either that or I was having to call my own manager to come pick me up. Which, not saying that that person, you know, he was more than willing to do that for me. I think he'd picked me up at least twice, if not three times when I worked there. He was super nice. And but again, this guy does not have um a good track record for being a model, or not even really a model employee, just for being a good employee. Like, he just does not have a very good track record. And with and as it stands, Joe is kind of an enabler. Um, but to go as far as he has a savior complex, I would definitely have to talk to Joe a little bit. Like, I would personally have to talk to this person, Joe, in order to know what how you could define somebody with a savior complex. So, but I don't think the HR person is an asshole. I think the dad is the asshole in this situation, and I think he just needs to tell his son to get up off his fucking ass and get to work, and then start charging him rent. Like, I hate to say it, but you're 28. Like, come on, dude. Like, can't live at mom and dad's house forever. So I totally forgot in this recording that I had used colored pencils. And mostly the colored pencils were on top of the marker to help darken it, but keep that light brown undertone. Um, and I think I had like a pencil shaving or something underneath the paper, and it caused me to have like an imprint. Anyway, that's kind of what I had done here. I did do like outlining in some darker color and like shading out for that, just so that way the I guess you'd say like the micro expressions, the shading, all were relatively cohesive, and it didn't look like my dog had big black eyebrows, even though that's kind of what he does right now. So yeah, that's kind of what I did here, and what I was doing. I think I have just enough time to do a third story in this series. Um, Sometimes I kind of go on a little bit of a rant, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer, or the stories might be a little bit long. So this one is there is a com- so there's a company in town that puts on comedy shows. They bring in traveling comedians for the headliner and use local people for the opening acts. They charge $15. Honestly, that's not hateful. I'm trying to be helpful, and I've told them repeatedly that $15 is too much to charge for a show in our town. Whenever I see them post about an event, I make sure to comment saying how they are way overcharging people and how they could make a lot more money if they charged less or even let people in for free. The owner contacted me privately the first time and explained how they set prices so that they could afford to pay the comedians. I don't think that matters. What matters is they could have bigger crowds if they didn't charge so much. Then they tried to tell me I should reduce my prices in my business. They don't even know how my business works, so I don't see how they think they can tell me how to run my business. Besides, I'm only trying to help. Today I saw a post about last night's show. Again, to be helpful, I commented that they're charging way too much and that they should even let people in for free so that they can make more money. The owner got real snotty and asked me to pay for the headliner every week so that they wouldn't have to charge so much. I don't see how that's my responsibility. I don't see how that's my well, yeah. Anyway, I just repeated that. I just think they should understand that nobody is going to pay $15 to see a comedy show. Am I the asshole for continuing to post on their page and that they should lower their prices? I'm only trying to help. By the way, I've never been to one of the shows, even though they did offer me free tickets. I told them I'm a successful businessman and I don't need free tickets. In this one, yeah, you kind of are the asshole. Because whether, like, pretty much what the owner was doing to you is what you were doing to them. And in all honesty, $15 is not that much. I mean, maybe right now with the cost of inflation, but it's not that much. Um, I I have spent up to $40 on a comedy show. Well, I can't really say that. There is a place uh down south that does comedy shows, and technically speaking, I spent $50 because there was a required 2 minimum purchase, which, I mean, yeah, that's that quote, that's how they get you. But honestly, you could buy 2 bottles of water and that would be your minimum to drink, or your 2 required purchase thing. I hope that makes sense. But that night I had a, I don't want to say it was a decent meal. The quesadilla would need to be a little bit more spicier. My opinion, it was a very white person quesadilla. Uh, but anyway, the other show that I paid $40 for came with a dinner. It was a dinner and a show. And the food was good, and the show was absolutely amazing. Like, it was to the point where I actually followed 2 of the comedians on social media. So, for honestly, the person probably could charge more if he wanted to. Um, but at this point, $15, and he's trying to cover the cost of the traveling comedian and the local acts. I don't think that's hateful at all. It's actually pretty decent. Now I think that the comedians who are local, if they're really good, I definitely think that maybe they could charge, they could up their cost to do the show a little bit more, just so that way the comedian is actually getting paid what he's worth. But overall, I don't I don't think $15 is hateful at all. Now, I do think you are an asshole for keeping on posting, uh, like, posting stuff for free. Like, I hate to say it, but nobody works for free. You as a businessman should know that. And that's what makes this post particularly, like, despicable in the sense, and why I think you are the asshole, because you are a fellow business person and you should know how business is ran. You're not going to make money off of somebody who is giving stuff out for free. Maybe you should, as a business person, you should give stuff away for free. My opinion. Like, if you want to sit there and tell somebody else how to run their business because of whatever, then that, don't don't be hateful when the shoe is on the other foot and somebody else is telling you the same thing. Um, Now maybe they should have a local comedian night where the locals come in and they put on a show for $5. You know, something that would, attract people, but not be, and then, like, do $5 and then charge a little bit more for drinks. I know it kind of that kind of sounds like a little bit of price gouging in a way, but you're still going to make your money on your drinks, but you're not, and you'd still probably be able to afford the acts that come in. Oh, one literally just drove by, and my dog was sleeping, and he woke up barking. The life with a dog, right? But anyway, I do think that the poster is an asshole. I don't have an update on that one. Um, I don't think that the comedy club should lower their prices. I think what they're doing is fair, in my opinion, because I've been to comedy shows. I know what goes into them, and that's just how it rolls. So, I hope you guys enjoyed Am I the Asshole stories. Again, leave your comments below. I really like enjoying reading them, and I'll comment back. I ain't scared. But thank you guys, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, week, month, 6 months, year, whatever it is. And I hope you guys keep creating more and worrying less. And with that, I am signing off. Thank you guys.